Hello and welcome to another edition of Luminar Coffee Break. I'm your host, Vanelli. Now, our topic today is how to add mood to an image and then take that mood and stylize it across several images. So the goal is to have a consistent look and feel of, let's say, a photo shoot. And the example I'm going to show you is this one here I did for Eastern State Penitentiary in Pennsylvania. So here is the famous barber chair that everyone is used to seeing. Now, I love this shot. This is the before image. What we're gonna do is convert it into this. Look at the difference between this. So here's the image, and here's what we're gonna make it look like, all by changing the mood. I'll get to right there. All by changing the mood of the image and using just a few simple tools inside Luminar. All right. So let's get started. Now I did create my own template for this, and I'll show you right here. If I go to templates, my templates, and I named, there's two versions I did. We did Eastern State Penitentiary, the chair version 2, and then of course down here is the original version. So I'm going to click on the second version. I'll let it do its thing, and the reason why I'm going to show you, oh look at that. The reason I'm going to show you it as a template first is because I want to walk you through my logic or what my mood or what my thoughts were to make this moody looking. All right. So I'm going to click edit. And here's what's really cool about this. So if I were to give you this template, what you can actually do is reverse engineer what I did. First thing you would see is a dot right here next to Enhance AI, which I used Accent AI. Then you'd come down and notice there's another dot next to composition. And for composition, I cropped it and did a few things when it came to the vertical part of making it just jump out at you. Some color, structure. In fact, let's look at structure real quick. Here's Structure AI. Watch how much work this does. Look at this. Before and after. Ooh, did you see that? So Structure AI is doing a lot of the heavy lifting to get it to look and feel the way I want. And let's come down to color. Now, it's going to be interesting on this. If you look at the color, I'm going to take it out. I'm toggling on and off and turning it back on. I use the color to get the chair really, really red. To desaturate it, I use different tools to get that look and feel. Of course, detail. Again, I'm going to click on it. And let me zoom in a little bit here so you can see it. Before, after, and then of course the vignette. So notice the way the chair is right here. Here's vignette. When I turn it on and off, look at that. That alone draws your eye right to that chair. So it's going to darken the edges and get that mood to where it's like the only thing in that room is the chair. All right. For creative, ironically, I usually jump to the dramatic tool because that's one of my absolute favorite tools. Notice I didn't use it here. I'm just going to apply a little bit of it so you can see it. Look what the dramatic tool does. The dramatic tool, I probably could have gotten away with just using that tool mainly to get the look and feel of what I'm going for. We have to mess with portrait. And then optics is going to be really cool. I'm going to show you a neat little trick when it comes to optics. Look at this. Well, I can't turn it on and off, but wait till you see the optics. And then super contrast did a lot for me here. Here's before. Look at this. And after. Do you see? Notice there's a huge difference here. Before and after. Now I'm looking at these settings here. Good, just to make sure we can reproduce it. And dodge and burn. This is a specialty tool. Look what I'm doing here. Certain spots on the wall. All right? So, now, why did I want to go through all that with you? Is I want you to see what my thought process was when I created this. All right? So I went down that path and just relaxed, did a few changes to it to see what it would look like. And then once I started going down a path where, ooh, I like this mood, then I embraced it and used the tools that would really make this stand out. All right? So let me get back here. So once again, I'm going to look, and here's the history, and there's the original. All right? And then we're going to work our way up through. All right? So let's start here. Now, like I said earlier, I could just jump right to that dramatic tool, but before I do that, let's come up here and just get the overall image looking good. And that's where Accent AI comes in, all right? Now, Accent AI is going to improve color, detail, tone, and depth of an image. So I have that set. For composition, excuse me, I like this here. It's actually cropped 16 by 9, and you would think I did that on purpose, but to be honest with you, this is a JPEG out of the camera. I had the JPEG set incorrectly. So I had the JPEG set to 16 by 9. Thank God I shot camera raw because raw was able to I was able to pull more details out of the raw file, and I had the proper dimensions. But I love this 16 by 9. I'm going to bring this in just a little bit and move it up. And there we have it. Good. Now, with this here, excuse me, I could mess around with the 3D transformation just to get the perspective looking a little bit better. But you know what we could do is let's try and see what it thinks the perspective should be. So we'll click on this, give it a few seconds to render. And it's probably thinking, oh yeah, the perspective already looks good. It was a little crooked, so I just straightened it out here. All right, so it thinks the perspective is good, which it is. Look how everything is looking. But I'm going to go overboard with this. So let me reset it. So here we are. I'm going to leave it like this. And actually, I'll leave that right here for now. What I want to do is come way down here to the bottom to optics. Ready for this? I want to do a lens distortion. Ooh, look at that. Do you see the difference of what I'm doing here? I'm bringing, with just a little bit of that distortion, notice the side pipes up here, and most importantly, the chair. Look at that. So it's almost like a fisheye, so I'm bringing it closer. I like that perspective. All right, so now that I'm set, now let's have some real fun working with the colors and getting it the exact way we want. All right, I'm going to start with super contrast. And what I want to do is get rid of some of the stuff here on the wall. Look at that. Bring it in. The midtones. And I'm balancing it out. And then the shadows. But the shadows, let's make the shadows a little bit deeper. There we go. That looks good so far. Before, after. All right. Now, when you're doing creative editing, learn to look past what you see and think what you want it to be with your editing. So if I'm focusing on, I want this to have that grit look. So you know what? I am going to change it up a bit. And another option would be to use dramatic, because look at this. That one tool does an incredible job. What I want to do is this desaturation, or the brightness rather. I want to bring the brightness down just a little bit, and I don't want it as saturated. I don't want it here, but at the same time, I don't want it too far gone, right about there. All right? Before and after. There we go. Now, a couple things you should note. Notice the chair isn't really being the center of attention yet. That's okay. I'm focusing on the grit and the walls. All right? So we have that set so far. And I'm going to come up here to structure. And with Structure AI, let's really, look at that. Let's really give it some good structure and boost it. Now it's taking shape. For the light tool, let's see, we're going to come down to the black and whites. And we're going to enrich the black. Oh, look at that. Let's make the blacks a little more enriched. All right, I'm getting extremely close. Soon we'll attack that chair in just a moment. Let's bring that vignette into play now, and let's see if it ties it in. Here we go. And let's make the chair the subject. All right, that's looking good. And let's feather that out big time. So that's what the feather looks like. We're going to put it here, around this. There we go. All right. And again, notice when we're doing this, constantly turn the toggle switches on and off just so you can see what you're doing. And in the comments below, let me know, do you take a full advantage of each of the tools, the toggle switch, just to make sure you're getting the look that you feel, the look and feel you're going for. All right? Great. Now, before I attack this chair, you know what? This right here, that piece of plaster is absolutely killing me. So let's go over here to erase. And let's get rid of it. I want to thank the insider community, insiders at Skylum.com, because I did this tutorial with them last week, and we all agreed for a little collaboration that piece was just absolutely an eyesore. Look at that. And erase. All right, good. So we have that set. Now, let's get it going. Almost there. Ooh, there we are. All right. Now we're ready to start adding more of the mood to the image. But look at so far, before, after, it's already looking really good. So let's go over here to color. And with color, HSL, hue, saturation, and luminance. Hue, saturation, and luminance. So for the hue, I don't want to mess with any of the colors for the hue, but the luminance of this chair of red, I'm going to bring it all the way out like this. And the orange, let's bring it way out. Now in doing that, it did a great job on the chair, but then again, it also made all of this come out, and we don't want that. So we'll click on the Add Mask. We're going to paint at 100% opacity, and I just want to paint on the chair, because that's the only thing I want that effect to be applied to. So now, when we look at it, look at that. Do you see how we're taking shape now? Now we're taking shape on where we're heading with this. I like that. And we're going to click on the local masking, add, basic. Now, let's make that chair really jump out. So what I want to do is bring out the shadows. And all I'm focusing on is the chair. So I brought out the shadows, but look what it did to everything else. Well, because we're doing local masking, I want to paint just on the chair again. And now look what just happened. So by doing that, before, And after, do you see how we brought the attention right to the chair? So we made the chair look bright. Let's make that background right back in here look less bright. I don't want to say dark, too darkened, because then it's going to look kind of strange. So we're going to add another basic. This time, let's take the shadows and bring the shadows down, along with lots of the highlights. Good. Let's see how the contrast can help us. Nope. Let's put the contrast back. And just a little bit of the exposure. Okay, there we go. And again, all I'm focusing on is like this back wall. All right, let's paint it. And I'm going to stay away from the chair. But I want to get that wall. And I'm using the left and right bracket keys to make the brush bigger or smaller. There we go. And we're set right there. All right, and let's see what we just did. Before and after. Oh yeah. So you see how that's helping us? Drawing attention away from, we're drawing attention back to the chair by making the wall less bright. Now let's bring the saturation down a little bit on that back wall. Yeah, right about there. And let's see the vibrancy. Not too much blue. Right about here looks good. All right. All right, there we have it. So now I can spend a lot more time on this, but look at this. But before and after, I got that look that I'm going for. Now, all I need to do at this point is right click, or better yet, save it over here as a template. Let me get back over here. I can save this and let it render a little bit. It's gonna take a little bit. There it is. I can come over here, save, and now when I come over to template, my template, there it is. And let's rename this. And I'm going to name it Eastern State Pen. So let's say Eastern State Pen version 3. And now I have it set. So I could, a couple things, I could just use that template and apply it to any of these images here, or I could just right click, adjustment, copy the adjustments, now come over to another image, right click, adjustments, paste. And in a moment, there it is. Look how cool that is. Give it a second to render. And there we go. There it is, before and after. How cool is that? All right. So again, we spent just to recreate this, it took me less than 15 minutes. Now, I will say when I created it, it took me days to do it. And what I mean by days is I would sit down, create the look and mood I'm going for, look at it, send it out to different people, ask opinion, hey, what do you guys think of this? They all loved it, blah, blah, blah. Came back again, redid it again, just fixing and tweaking certain things. And then when I finally got it to where I really love this, then I created that template, saved it from there, and then exported it, because the key is once you create it, you want to archive the original image that you want to archive one of the images that you made this out of, which I just did, and now I have that set to if anything were to happen, to if I lose the look or the template inside Luminar, I have my original plus the finished image. And Now I have an entire look and feel. My friend who went with me on this trip, I can send her the same template, and because the lighting conditions and everything we did is very similar, she can apply it as the starting base or even the finishing base with the images that she has. All right? So that's the way we work on creating a look and mood of an image. And I hoped that when I walked through my thought process, that kind of helped you out a little. And keep in mind, each person has their own way of doing things. So whatever your thought process is and you feel comfortable doing it, stick to it. I just hope some of the tips I gave you takes you over to that next level. All right? All right, guys. Well, welcome, everyone. Thank you again for joining us. Let me pull this up a little bit. Good. We have Jack, Pat, and our good friend from France, and, of course, my good buddy Russell from Florida, right up the road. All right? Well, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you at the next coffee break.